All right, well, it's not quite kites, but my family feud is a woman against fish. And not a fish, but fish. And the way I knew I was in a family feud is because my now ex-husband came home with his first pair of waders. And there were signs, because we'd go on camping trips, and all of a sudden this guy's like, I'm just going to drop a line. I'll be back soon. And that was strange. So to build some context around this story, when I married this guy, he was a singer in a rock and roll band. Black leather and tats. It was sexy. And waders. You know what I'm talking about, right? They're these big rubber pants that go up to your armpits. Not sexy. Sorry, guys. You add a vest and a hat and some pliers to that ensemble, and you might attract fish, but you don't attract women, at least not this one. And then my husband came home with a float tube. So now he's in a rubber donut in his waders with flippers on. And all I could think to myself is he looks like a giant frog. And I think the idea is to float out into the water real quiet so you can sneak up on the fish, looking like a frog. But the piece de resistance of the fishermen is the day they discover flies. And I am talking about those pieces of string with some feathers on the end of the line. So now he's big frog guy, floating quietly, doing that thing, imitating an insect. Now, all I could think to myself at this point, as he would tell me these stories. Now, here's how the story started. It wasn't the fish is this big stories. It was, that fish looked me in the eye, and it mocked me. Or I have to go back to that hole because I got to teach that fish a lesson. And my thought at that moment was, we're talking about a grown man with the most evolved brain on the planet, frontal lobes, consciousness, rational thought, creativity, emotion, against the smallest, most primitive brain on the planet, the fish. And the fish was winning. But this is how our feud played out. Hey, what you doing? I'm going fishing. You got a problem with that? I knew I was going to lose this feud the day I came home and father and son were on the couch. And they were watching fishing on television. Now, I am not without empathy. I know this is a male bonding experience, and as male bonding experiences go, this is not a bad one. I also understand rivers, lakes, and streams, and nature and beauty. I understand water church. But this activity of watching other men fish on television, I did not get it. And so, even though I can proudly say that this is not what ended my marriage, I am now a single fishing widow. And I have developed an adage about this whole feud. And it goes something like this. You've probably heard part of this before. You give a man a fish and he eats for a day. You teach a man a fish to fish, and he will sit in a boat or a tube in the water like a frog with an insect and drink beer all day. And in my family feud, it was fish 1 and woman 0.